Hi, David, with Futures Trading. I put the video out on last week, and I also put the pictures online. I kind of, flipped the zone here for you. So that's the picture that I put online, and definitely what's in the video from last week. Which, if you're not familiar with that video, you can go ahead and watch it here on the channel on YouTube here. If you're catching it somewhere else, that's fine. But here's that GC video I put out. And of course, this is what they did on Friday with the news. So they managed to come back down. I gave you some information there about them, not closing beneath that bar there. And of course, they held it for 2 hours. And then on the news, I did tell you that they could rotate back down to the zone, and they did. And wanted to see them bounce at that static level and kind of come back up, and they did on this bar. And we'll look at that activity in just a second. It's definitely in the video because it was still, acting out in real time. So you can go back and take a look at that. We popped up and then we came back down and essentially made that bar. And so trying to just bring you back up to speed with what's happening here. So now what we're going to do is take a look at what could take place moving forward. And again, if you're not familiar with the analysis on the last video I made, go ahead and take a look at that GC on the channel there, and hit a like or subscribe. I'll appreciate all the support there. I really appreciate you guys even taking the time to watch this. Now, since this morning, all right, since this morning, I told you that, and that's another thing in the video. I did tell you this, and I'm gonna state it here again. I didn't trust if they were to get past this leg. There's a two-leg removal process that, again, I use when I trade. And again, I only trade predictable behavior, and I try to make the public aware of that as well. So they got past here. However, I did, of course, leave this out intentionally last week, because I need to be able to give you more information as the channel progress. So they got past that leg, but they didn't pass this one. All right, and it's a two-leg removal process. Again, that's in some of the other videos that I've made. The trend video, the market structure, definitely in the market structure video. I'll leave the links below for you to check that out. Now, there's some information I left out, and it's intentional to do so, because I don't want anyone to just think one-sided about the market, where it can just go up or go down. It can do both. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give you some of that information now, and try to just keep it as relative as possible. And that's why I intentionally leave some of the stuff out. All right, so this is what they did overnight. All right, so they made that range there, kind of referenced it. It made, of course, the range right at that time there, 6:30, and then of course they punched through it at 9:30. Now, that's what that bottom look like. Now, when it comes to the information that I pretty much leave out, because I want you to watch some of the other videos and definitely keep your focus as to what's happening currently. That's why I intentionally leave some things out. So now that they made it back down here, the open of that second bar, and of course the mid of the reversal bar. Now, this is in a trend trading video. I'm not going to dive completely into all of the content right here and right now, but I'll state as much as I can in the amount of time that I have. The open of the second bar is important. The mid of the reversal bar is important, and you kind of see them doing that here with this turn here. The mid of the bar, of course, with the reversal bar itself. The reverse bar is the green one, and then of course the second bars that closes higher. The open of that bar is important. Now, the blue bars is important on my charts. They are, again, all of my design, and I am not the best coder in the world, so do forgive if there's some things you may see on my chart that just doesn't make sense to you. But here's the blue bar outline. Now, they ran into this blue bar up here and they decided to turn around. That's why I told you that I did not want to see them essentially close back under the low of this bar. I didn't want to see that. They held it for 2 hours and then they dropped down. There's the blue bar right there, and so they kind of just banged their head up against that and then took off on the news. So, and you can see the blue bars active on the way up. Of course, here's one here. They of course got right through it, but then they had this one here and they fell down a bit. Came back up, made a couple, and of course it can get a little muddy when they go sideways there. But here's a couple of them on this turn, kind of the same deal. Push down into them, then push up. Now that we got down here on the bottom, now here's something else I want you to consider. I flipped that zone. I went on and flipped that zone because they really shouldn't wind up here, in my opinion. Now, I do suspect that they should turn here. Now, this is what I suspect, and I hope that is true if they want to stay down. But given what they did this morning, there's a possibility that that may not be the case. Them doing this is a problem. Now, I told you I didn't trust them coming past this leg, but this is a leg here, and they managed to knock out two from this side, but didn't want to do anything else with it. Now, if they're going to hold it up, I would definitely like to see that. And I'm going to show you the daily chart so you can get a idea of what's happening with that on a more of a long-term perspective. I don't like this turn. I looked at it on a 1 minute chart. There's a doji up here. They're holding the mid of it right now, but it's some other stuff that's going on with dojis. I don't want to get into, but they have the blue bars off this bottom. They stopped at these, kind of the same ordeal up here, blue bar here. They're stopping. So they can turn right here. I just don't like what this looks like on a 1 minute. Now you're getting those wicks. It's not quite as many of them as I want to see for reversals. I told you need several, but you're getting them. All right. So if this is corrective, back to the mid of the leg. Here's the mid of the leg, and there's something else I put in the video about the chart scale. You can use the chart scale and can kind of get an idea of what price should do as far as how far it can cycle. So if you use the chart scale, just kind of throwing this at you here, the mid of the chart, you can just go with the mid of the chart, just go right there, right in the middle of the chart, just zone it out and say, hey, there's a chance you'll get up here 50% of the time. Roughly the lower part of the scale, just throwing some information at you here. Lower part of the scale, you can rotate back down. You definitely shouldn't get back up here. So you can start dividing your chart up if you don't want to use any kind of moving average, you just want to use price. It's totally up to you. Let's take a look at that daily. All right, so daily here, kind of throwing a lot of information at you. Hope you utilize it and hope it can definitely advance your trading in the way that you want it to. So here's the blue bar on the daily. Now this is the daily, pulled up to it, came right back down on last week, and so now we got another blue bar. And this could end up being just the problem, and that's all it is. This could be a problem. And so if they can't get back up from where they're at, if they can't get back up from where they're at, you can go ahead and expect, of course, another move down. And with the moving average, if you like moving average, you can pick any one of your choice. I'll tell you, of course, in this video I made one about the NQ just a bit ago. Whenever you get candles that run away from the moving average, kind of push off them, they can trade back into the space of them. So we got some space here. They're kind of filling that right there. They, kind of doing that. So, they may get a rotation back off of that as well. So the daily bar has this blue outline. Here's a blue outline that we tested on last week. I thought just maybe that news could push right through that blue bar, and then of course we go and take out that high, but that did not happen. It didn't happen. So this is what we're looking at now. Definitely don't want to see them get any further past this bar here. This is not where you want them to be. To be quite honest, it's not to say they can't stop at this blue bar and turn around. They could, absolutely, they could. But I would like to see, it may be just an overshoot of this and turn around. But the way they're doing this right now is completely no fun. It's no fun. Given that, again, I looked at the information kind of on a 1 minute chart just really briefly, and I didn't like what this looked like. But they're getting it done. So the open of that second bar, again, the mid of the reversal, all of that is important. The open of the second bar, mid of the reversal, and of course, they played it down here. Now there's a level here, a static level down here, right here, that 55 area right there. Now to know how far the stop got to be outside of that, take a look at the video, and I'll have all the links below. Take a look at the static levels video with the chart scale as well as the ranges. Take a look at that video and it'll outline to you how many points away from the levels that you want to measure out. So they had that static level there, blue bars, hit the open of that. There's the mid, bounce right at it, created that same scenario, made more blue bars. And so we may continue up. We just might, again, two leg removal. If they're not going to remove this leg, totally makes sense for a reversal. You can always take out one, trap people, send them in the opposite direction, and then turn around and go right back in the opposite direction. And that's how they can play out. Again, the blue bars, you can kind of see it here, blue bar here. They pulled into a drop, and they just managed to run up here, hit that one, and didn't want to do anything with it. So let's see what this become. I'll be back on later this week. I'll be back later this week to kind of give you an update. Again, we formed that bottom of that range down there. Okay, we formed these ranges down here, and so it's kind of like a big window from them ranges that happened back there on last week. It's kind of a big window for them to climb back up there. It's not to say that they can't do it, but you may get a rotation after they break this high. They may rotate down, try to fill this void here, or go back into them ranges. But because of that daily chart, that's a problem. All right. So I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.